Hello everyone and welcome back to the MCFC Lads Podcast. It's episode 10. I'm joined by Alex all the way from Turkey.
In the land of the treble. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah,
Episode
Trebleville. 10. Yeah, he's doing. To be fair, he's put a shift in, guys. Obviously, he's on holiday. We're putting together a decent little podcast here. I'm actually excited for this one. We're going to be breaking down the entire squad that we currently have. Just going through each player, position by position, looking at where the strengths, the weaknesses are. But, before that, Alex, obviously James Trafford has been announced as a signing. How do you feel about that one?
We talked about it briefly last episode. It's a good signing, especially now we've heard that we're going to keep hold of Edison as well. So it means we can phase Trafford in rather than just sort of throwing him in at the deep end. Gives him a bit of time to sort of steady his feet. But I'm very happy to sign him. Very good value for money. Potentially, I'll keep him for the next 10 years. You can't really argue with it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's a great signing. I mean, like I said last time, I know quite a bit about him. I've listened to a couple of podcasts he's been on. I've sort of, one of those players, I've almost tracked his career as well, looked at how he's doing, even though he'd left City, just because I was sort of aware he might one day come back. I didn't actually think it was going to happen until obviously quite recently, but I think he's a great goalkeeper. The stats back it up as well. I mean, his first year in the Premier League wasn't unbelievable. He didn't tear up trees, like we said, but last season in the Championship, he really did, and that's crazy to say as a goalkeeper. 16 goals conceded, 29 clean sheets. He didn't concede more than a single goal, and he's exactly what we want. He's an unbelievable player with his feet. He did used to play in midfield when he was a kid, which is crazy. I don't think many goalkeepers kind of take that path. So, I think he's going to be exactly what we need going forward. Unbelievable with his feet, very good at saving shots, saving penalties. He's everything we want in a keeper, and he is young. He's 22, he's nearly 23, which is even more young for a goalkeeper. But he has got some experience now. Like, we've seen him go out to League One, Accrington, Bolton. We've seen him obviously have 2 years at Burnley in two different divisions. So, yeah, like you said, he's going to try to challenge Edison, and I think he's the right man to step into number one.
Yeah, completely agree with that.
Moving on. Pep obviously says normally, Alex, he wants a small squad. But we've not got a small squad, have we?
No, our squad is, I believe I saw on Twitter that it's now over 30 players. Obviously, a number of them will be leaving before the end of the window, either on loan or on permanent. But regardless, usually our squad's sort of 19, 20, maybe 21 players, and that's its biggest, really. And this year, I would say the smallest it's going to be is 24, 25 players. So it's going to be very interesting. We're obviously going to go through sort of each position in this podcast, but there's a lot of clearing out that needs to happen, and even when we've done all the clearing out, like I just said, I can't see it being as small a squad as it usually is.
Yeah, like you said, it's not going to be as small as in the past. I've always seen City as having, a very good 11 and 5-6 very good subs as well. But outside of that, it very quickly the quality dips into like the youth team, stuff like that. Whereas I've always seen Liverpool and Chelsea, those kind of teams, having a very, very good 11, 12 players that play almost every week. And then they have sort of a big drop off in quality, and then maybe more players than City do in that kind of mid bracket.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Like, they have sort of 7 or 8 good subs, but they're not unbelievable subs. There's like a noticeable drop off.
Yeah.
When someone does get injured. Do you remember when Van Dijk got injured, that kind of stuff?
They were struggling.
So, I think we definitely did need more players. Last season we were definitely short, which is why we spent quite a bit in January. But, we'll just get into it. We'll rattle this off quick. Well, not quickly, but we'll rattle off some of the players quite quickly. Breaking news, actually, whilst we're recording this, Nico O'Reilly has agreed a new deal at Manchester City. Bayer Leverkusen had 2 bids rejected. City turned down approaches from the Premier League and decided to offer him a new contract. So we're not on to Nico O'Reilly yet, but it looks like he'll be staying. How do you feel about that?
I think that's very good news. I think last year he had a very, very good run. There was obviously gaps in his game, but that's to be expected for someone who made his first ever full season in the Premier League. Again, not a player we want to get rid of. There was talk of Chelsea, I remember. I think it was towards the end of the last season. And I think it's a good move to keep hold of him. A high amount of potential he's got. Can play left back, can play midfield. So very, very happy that we're keeping hold of him.
So, Alex, we'll start in goal. I'll just reel off these players. I've got a list of him next to me. Bettinelli, what do you make of him? Pretty straightforward.
I don't really know anything about him, to be honest, but he's signed to do Scott Carson's job, and that's sort of quite simple, really. So he's going to do a job.
Yeah.
He won't make a difference this season. It's okay. He's
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, there's a place for him in this squad. That's about as much as we need to say. Marcus Bettinelli, obviously signed from Chelsea. Needed to happen at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ederson, I'll start on him. A lot of people very critical of him. I completely disagree with anyone that is critical of him because he's done so much for the club. I understand he wasn't in his best form last season, but he did have a bit of an injury record. So I definitely think there's a place for him to stay. I definitely think there's a number one spot. And I definitely think he can perform for this team. So I know that Trafford has come in to challenge him, but I'm happy with Ederson being in the squad still.
Yeah, obviously there was rumours with Galatasaray this summer, but they haven't happened. It seems City are keen to keep hold of him. I'm keen to keep hold of him. I think, like I said earlier, it will definitely help Trafford get comfortable in the squad if Ederson's there to sort of ease him in. His contract's only got a year left, so he will inevitably leave next year, but that's absolutely fine, I think. This year, keep hold of him. He's got a big role to play, and then next year we can sort of move on to Trafford as our main number one.
Yeah. So we've already talked about James Trafford, so we'll just sort of skip past him as we've just mentioned him as well. But the fourth goalkeeper that I think is going to be on the way out is Stefan Ortega.
I think he's got to go. He's done a great job for the club since he's come in. He's been a great number two, probably the best number two I can remember us having, especially in the Mansour era.
Yeah.
He's done a great job, but realistically, if you've already got Trafford and Ederson, you can't have three top-level goalkeepers. So I'd let him go wherever he wants, get a small fee for him, take it as it comes. But it's been a great servant for City, so no complaints from me for Ortega.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said there. The goalkeeping department, there was obviously issues with it. Ederson nearly left last summer, but obviously he stayed. Now I'm happy for him to stay. But yeah, I agree with Ortega. I think it's only fair to him that he leaves as well. So I think we've basically knocked the team down by one in the goalkeeping department. I think Ortega will be on the way out, like you said. But we'll move now onto defenders. Now, some people are going to categorise certain players as defenders, others as not. I think what we'll do here is we'll just go off what they were last season, effectively. So we'll start off with the oddball type ones, and we'll go with Mateus Nunes at right back.
He did a very good job last year, I thought, personally. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about us and right backs this summer, and we've since found out that we're not going to turn the right back, which is interesting to say the least. But he's got a mistake in Nunes, but he also has a lot to offer. I think we've seen going forward, he looks like a very, very decent player. Much better than he has done in midfield, in my opinion. I'm intrigued to see how he does this season, but I mean, it's inevitable to keep hold of him.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if you quite mentioned it there, but in the past we've definitely had these converted fullbacks under Pep. We've had Fabian Delph, we've had Zinchenko, and I'm confident that we can do that again. I know a lot of people would question whether we have the quality around him to be able to do that, but I think Nunes is a very quick player, especially on them transitions. I like the fact that he can get back and cover, and he's got that kind of tackle gene that a lot of centre mids have. So I do rate him, to be fair. I think at right back that might be where he finds his place in the City team. And I know, like you said, we've not gone and bought a Livramento or somebody like that at right back, who's naturally a right back. But I'm happy with him. I'm happy with him staying for sure.
Yeah, no, me too.
Moving on, Rico Lewis. It's
a big season for Nico Lewis, in my opinion, this year.
Yeah,
I think last year he probably didn't live up to the standards that he's previously set, but no one did really, so you can't sort of single him out for that. Will he play at right back? Will he play at centre mid? No one really knows. Pep tried a bit in centre midfield, I think, in the Club World Cup. He obviously had his Club World Cup cut short because of that stupid red card that was never a red card. But I think it's a big season for Rico Lewis this year. He's definitely given opportunities, and he is capable of being a first team at Manchester City, but we'll just have to wait and see if he can live up to the standards that he displayed the year before last and the season before that.
Yeah, I agree. It's a big year for Rico Lewis. I'm confident in him. I think he was pretty good, to be fair. I mean, that goal against Forest screams out to me. So I think, like you said, in midfield, I think that might be his place, but we'll see where he ends up. We know that he's obviously played quite a bit right back for us, inverting into midfield. But another one that we've just talked about, but we'll go back over him briefly. Nico O'Reilly looks like he's staying. He did play quite a lot of left back, and I thought he was unbelievable at left back, especially that game against Bournemouth in the FA Cup, the quarter final. He comes off the bench, major impact. The game against Everton away, gets a huge goal. I like him, and I'm glad he's staying. He's only 20.
Yeah, again, he's another player that I'd like to see in midfield, though we've got a lot of midfielders, so where he fits in, I don't know. I think there's definitely questions over his defensive abilities, but that's natural for someone that's never really played left back until he was thrown at the deep end at the end of the Premier League season. So that's something he can work on, but I absolutely believe he can work on that. And as well, like we say, it's not his natural position, so you've got to cut him some slack. Going forward, looked very good. Like you said, that Bournemouth game, we were losing, we were much the second best team really on the pitch. He comes on and the game was changed, I thought, and he was a big part of that end of season run that ended up qualifying us for the Champions League. So definitely worth a place in our squad for the new season, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Now we'll move on to the natural defenders, if you want to call them that. Ait-Nouri just signed from Wolves, the number one attacking return player, if you want to call it that, in the Premier League last season for Wolves. I think he had 11 goal contributions, something like that. I liked him at the Club World Cup in the first few games. I think he was a bit on the ropes against Al Hilal. We did get exposed as a team anyway. And we can't read too much into it. After all, it is a little bit pre-season-y, depending on how you see it. But Ait-Nouri, definitely going to be a good provider going forward. He's very quick. He likes that overlapping run. What do you think of him?
Like you said, great Club World Cup. Bit rope against Al Hilal, but like you said, everyone was, so we can't read too much into it. He's our first proper left-back in a long time. I think the players we've got available on the left wing we'll get to later, but I think his overlapping abilities bring the best out of the players like Doku. I'm very excited to see him, very good technically, so he's going to fit into City straight away. And I think he's reasonably fast as well, which is good to see. So I'm looking forward to seeing him just next year, but I think that's a very good piece of business by Hugo Viana and the City board.
Yeah, Akanji, what do you make of him?
There's a lot of people calling for Akanji's head.
Yeah.
And I think he's done a lot for the club, but I wouldn't be against seeing him go. We've got a lot of defenders available. He struggled a bit last year, and again, a lot of people did struggle last year, so it's harsh to call him out. I thought he struggled again a bit in the Club World Cup. He's not too great in the air. So for me, I would potentially like to see him moved on. Although if he stays, I'm more than happy to give him another chance. He can play right back as well, which is very useful. Yeah. But for me, if we get a decent offer, I'd be willing to let Kanji go.
Yeah, I mean, we signed him kind of unexpectedly from Dortmund. It was a bit of a bargain buy, unbelievable in the treble season. And then, like you said, there's a lot of people criticising him. I don't like to be overly negative about any player, to be honest, unless they're polluting the club in a sense. Yeah. I don't think Akanji's a bad guy. I don't think he, played unbelievably last season, but he did play a lot. And, there was the whole team was terrible last season, in my opinion, pretty much.
Yeah.
Akanji's an interesting one. Like you said, I won't be too saddened to see him go, but also I'd like to see him given another go if he can. Nathan Ake, I think, is a great player, but the injury record's just disappointing. It's not his fault, obviously, but there's a few players that fall into this category. They'll obviously come on to Stones, but I'd like to see Ake stay. I know he's got that versatility. He can play left back as well. I know we're more covered at left back, but I do like the fact that he can play in two positions and he can be a big part of our defence, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he's one of our best defenders when he's fit. The treble season at left back, he was unbelievable. He had surgery at the back end last season, so hopefully that means that some of his injuries that are occurring, maybe we see the back of now. He's had the surgery. If he's fit, then he's got to stay. But again, he's one of them. If you got a great offer, I wouldn't be heartbroken to see him go, but I wouldn't be looking to sell him. So I definitely think he's got a part to play in the squad next season.
Yeah, I'll group these next two together, Diaz and Gvardiol. I think that'll probably be the partnership that we're looking at. We saw it towards the end of last season. Diaz, for me, hasn't quite been at the level he was when he first came in. I think that's a home truth.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's still a great player, and I know that he can be, a very big part of this squad. Gvardiol, for me, was player of the season last season, so good at left back. Then he moved into centre back, very versatile, very young, definitely going to be a big part of our team for the next 5, 6, 7 years. So I think both of them are pretty obvious keeps. Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely both keeps. There's rumours of the new Diaz contract coming on its way as well, which is fair enough. I think it's a big season for Diaz because as one of the leaders of the team, you want him to sort of take control. And last season, obviously, like everyone else, he wasn't at his height of ability, but obviously it's a keep. They're both world-class defenders. And I think Gvardiol, especially at centre-back next season, will see the best of him.
Yeah, and like you said about Diaz, everyone can be a good winner, which we'd seen in the past, but being a good loser is important as well in this team. And there was a few hiccups in press conferences and stuff like that. People didn't like. I mean, that Southampton game was poor, but we'll brush over that and move on to our Uzbek defender. Kuzunov came in January. Very impressive, I thought. I know a lot of people criticised him for that Chelsea incident, but I think he's a very good player, very sharp, very young, very quick. He needs a bit more time to develop, but I'm excited to see him in the team at centre-back and also potentially right-back.
Yeah, the right-back one's a really good shout because obviously we are a bit weak in right-back, especially...
Yeah.
I think both our right-back options are good going forward, but their weakness is defensively, so I think we will see centre-backs get moved over there. And Kusnov potentially is an option. He's got that pace, very good defensively. We saw him at the Bernabeu, and even at the Bernabeu he put up a decent job. He's probably one of our better performers in a really poor performance. But yeah, the guy's got bags of potential, bags of pace. Very, very excited to see how much role he can play next season.
Yeah, I really like him. Like, as you know, I've even got a couple of the Uzbek shirts. So yeah, I'm excited to see what Kuznov can do. I know a lot of people are doubting him, but I'm definitely not in that boat. John Stones, we've touched on briefly, but the injury record is the one concern.
Yeah.
There was talk of him potentially leaving. I don't think that will be the case, but it's the injury record that is disappointing.
If it wasn't for injuries, I think John Stones would probably be the greatest centre-back in Premier League history, but sadly his hamstrings are just made of quite a literal string. But yeah, I've seen no rumours of him leaving, so I'm more than happy to keep him because on his day he's world class, but we've just got to hope he stays fit.
Yeah, well, we got very lucky in that treble season with how fit he did stay. Vitor Rice is the next one to talk about. Obviously, John Stones, for me, one of the best defenders we've ever had, but like you said, the injury record can't not be discussed. But yeah, Vitor Rice looks like he's going to be on his way out on loan. Obviously, a big prospect for the future. But I think that's right for him. I think he needs to get some minutes in his legs and just play some football. And I don't know if the Etihad's to play for him this season anyway.
Yeah, I think in an ideal world he'd stay, but given how many defenders we've got, we're probably not going to be able to get rid of that many of them. I think he's got to go on loan. Give him some minutes, and next season when we probably are maybe a John Stones or a Nathan Ake and an Akanji down, then he can come in after that year of experience and he can just slot right in, I think.
Yeah, definitely right. We'll move on to the midfielders now. And with another one that I think will go out on loan is Claudio Echeverri. Very young player from Argentina. He didn't really get as many minutes as I thought he might towards the end of the season. Made his debut in the FA Cup final, which was
very
crazy.
strange.
Played a bit in the Club World Cup, scored an unbelievable free kick. But yeah, I think maybe a loan might be right for him. I do like him and I do think he can be an absolute player. But I would like to probably see him go out on loan and just get some more experience.
Same with Vitor Rice. In an ideal world, he stays and he plays a few minutes, but given the amount of midfielders we've got, it's highly unlikely he gets enough minutes for it to be worthwhile keeping him. So, yeah, I agree. Just send him on loan.
Yeah, Oscar Bob, you're a massive Oscar Bob fan. You got in there early. I'm a big Oscar Bob fan as well. That tune, I could sing it all night, and I probably have sung it all night before. Oscar Bob, this is his time. I thought it was last season, but I think this season now, fully fit. We saw a couple glimpses of it at the Club World Cup as well, but I think unbelievably unlucky last season. I think last season was the breakthrough. In many ways, I think he was almost weighed up next to Cole Palmer. Who do you keep kind of thing, a little bit. Don't know if everyone would agree with that, but yeah, I think Oscar Bob, very unlucky to get injured last season. I think this season he's going to be very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think we talk about him as one of the most important players in the team in 12 months' time. I love Oscar Bob, but I think he's going to be an unbelievable player for Manchester City. I just hope he can stay fit and live up to the sort of potential that we saw last pre-season and a bit of in the Club World Cup. I can't wait to see him this year. Definite keep. And for me, I think that right wing spot will be his own by the sort of end of the season.
Yeah, Ryan Cherky, great signing, bargain, and I think he's going to do a lot for the team creatively. KDB's obviously gone, but yeah, great signing again. Saw glimpses of it at the Club World Cup. Seen him play for France, and I think for a first season, I think he's a little bit raw, but I think he's going to be very, very good.
Yeah, I don't think too much more needs to be said, to be honest. The potential's incredible. The value is insane. I can't see any way that transfer goes wrong, to be honest, but wait and see. But not much more needs to be said other than what you've just said, to be fair.
Another player that has a massive, massive season ahead of him is Phil Foden. Now, we're both big Phil Foden fans.
Yeah, 100%.
We know what he can do. PFA Player of the Year the season before last. Young Player of the Year twice. Won the treble. He's won 6 Premier League titles. He's still only 25 just. I think he's definitely going to be back. I don't understand these people that think he's just going to switch off like a light switch and disappear into the ether. I think he's definitely a player that is going to be pivotal to our successes next season. I think he's going to be more than back. I've said it on every platform I can. People will continue to hate and criticise him, and I think they're all just stupidly wrong.
I personally thought in the Club World Cup he looked like our best player. I thought Phil Foden looked very much like he was back. He came on against Al Hilal, he scored. He scored in...
Yeah.
I feel like I want to say he was our top scorer in the Club World Cup. I might be wrong, but he definitely did score quite a few goals. Played a massive role in all the games. I agree with you. I think he'll be back. I can't see him going 2 years without sort of making a big impact in this City squad. With the likes of Ryan Cherky, I think he'll just go up levels. I'm very excited to feel Foden this year.
Yeah, definitely. He's back. Trust me, he'll be back. Jack Grealish, unfortunately, I think, personally for me, the way I see this one is I think his time at City's up. I think there's no treble without Grealish, as we've said before. I think he's done, not quite what we'd have wanted him to do in his City career, but he's also done everything we'd want him to do in terms of what we've won, what we've done. So 4 seasons at City out of the 6. He signed for a big fee. That wasn't controlled by him. I think, unfortunately, he's just run his course. I don't think there's any bad terms with him or with any of the players, with Pep, anything like that. I just think he's run his course, and I think he will go out on loan when financially the issue is resolved, because he's on a lot of money. I think no club's going to pay all his wages on a loan. No one can afford to buy him. So I think he's going to go out on loan right at the end of the window, and I think that'll be the right move for him.
It's a shame it's ended with Jack Grealish, but I agree with everything you've just said there. I think it ends not on bad terms, but it's a shame that he's sort of not had the impact on the team that we would have liked in the last 2 seasons. Like you say, I can't see anyone buying him. I imagine he probably won't leave the club until sort of the last 2 weeks of the window, because I think City are holding out for a full-time transfer, but I don't think that'll happen. Then at the end of the window, they'll just say, right, he needs to go, let's get him on loan, and a West Ham or someone will pick him up. But it's a shame how it's ended, but it is what it is. Nothing we can do about it now.
Yeah, I'll lump a couple of these, 3 of them in together. Bernardo, Kovacic, and Ilkay Gundogan. Now, for me, all 3 of them definitely stay. I think they'll stay, and I want them to all stay, because a lot of people group these in together as the Unks. They try and palm them off as old players. Yeah, they are knocking on a little bit, but I think they provide a lot of experience in that midfield, and I think all 3 of them still do a lot for the team. I just think there were so many issues last season, and there was almost too little legs in the midfield. Playing them all together doesn't really make sense tactically, from an energy perspective, anything like that. So I'd like to see all 3 of them stay. I think all 3 of them can do a lot better than they did last season. And I think surrounded by the likes of some of the other players we'll come on to, with more legs, I think they'll all do well.
Yeah, I vaguely agree with what you're saying. I think I probably would get rid of one of them, although I don't know how much it's going to be. Obviously, Bernardo's captain, so he'll definitely be staying on for the next season. Kovacic has just come back from an injury. He'd probably be my first choice to get rid of, not because I don't think he's good, not because I don't think he can add something to the team, solely because we've just got so many players, and in order for everyone to get enough game time, I think potentially letting one of them go would be beneficial to the club. But they've all got something to offer, so if they don't go, they don't go. But I think we've also got a bit of an issue with homegrown players.
I don't absolutely hate the idea of getting rid of one of them, but at the same time, I think it would just be from a numerical perspective. It wouldn't be getting rid of them because they're bad, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
But okay, maybe one of them could leave. I do understand that. But yeah, we've moved on from that, and another player that could leave is James McAtee. Now I do like him. I think he's got a lot about him. I watched him when I was at uni actually a couple of times when he was at Sheffield United, and I did like him. He's come through the academy. It was kind of revealed yesterday that if he does leave, there'll definitely be a buyback clause. We don't want to see a Cole Palmer 2.0 situation coming in. He also doesn't want to go to Germany. I think he wants to stay in the Premier League. I do like him, but I think the general consensus is that he probably will leave.
Yeah, and I'm okay with him leaving. I think he's definitely got a lot of potential, but maybe is he not quite ready for City yet? I'd say he probably isn't. I was saying to my brother the other day, I'd rather lose him for 25 million with a buyback than lose him for 40 million without one, because he definitely has the capability of being City level. So as long as you have a buyback, I'm all good for him going.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll get a decent fee from him. I think if there's a buyback and he turns out to do a Cole Palmer situation, if we had a buyback on Cole Palmer, we know it'd have been activated probably a year ago, to be honest. Yeah. I think that's, as long as City is sensible with the sale, I agree with him going for now. A player that's very strange, there's a lot of weird whispers about him, is Nico. Now, we only signed him in January. He didn't really play a lot at all, which was strange given the big gap in the midfield of Rodri. What do you make of the Nico situation?
For me, I can't understand any reason why I'd possibly let him go. I don't think he's had a bad game since he came to City. Looks very comfortable on the ball, can replace Rodri, can play a bit further forward. So to me, to be honest, from what I've heard, the rumours are almost just nonsense. But yeah, I hope they are nonsense because I think he's a good player and he's got a lot to offer in this team.
Yeah, I agree. I think Nico's a great player. I don't think he is quite a 6 naturally, as everyone seems to think. I think he can play almost box to box. So his legs as well. He's got some legs in midfield, some younger, fresher legs. So I don't think he'll leave, and I think he'll definitely go on to be a good player for us. The Norwegian kid, Sverre Naipan, looks like he'll be going out on loan. Obviously, very, very inexperienced. A player to watch going forward in 2 or 3 years, but I think it makes sense for him to go out on loan.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer for that one. I don't really know anything about him, to be honest, but hopefully he goes on loan, has a good season, and we'll just sort of address the situation from there when the likes of Bernardo, Gundo, Kovacic start to move on.
Yeah, and the penultimate midfielder I'm going to mention is Rodri. Now, we missed him a lot last season. Some people are trying to kind of designate all the problems to him going missing. If you do that, we're destined to fail because they weren't all, Rodri's fault. 30 or 40% of the issues were stemming from us missing the Ballon d'Or winner in that number 6 position. And we know how good he was. He won the Ballon d'Or. He's the first City player to win it at the club. We missed him a lot, but there were so many other issues off the pitch. Too many players, the likes of Kyle Walker, Kevin De Bruyne, that have now left, I don't think they were terrible players, but obviously Kevin De Bruyne is an unbelievable player. Kyle Walker's in a different boat to him, actually, but we did just have an ageing squad, is what I'm trying to say. And Rodri being injured, tied in with a lot of burnout, other players not stepping up, meant that we didn't do very well last season. Tactically ageing as well, we were. But Rodri being back, I just can't wait to see him playing every week again.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously not going to come back and hit the heights that he was at before the injury, but it's still Rodri. He's still going to be at an insane level, and we will get Rodri back by the end of the season, I'm sure of it. So very excited to see Rodri back in the team and how much that improves us. But yeah, not much more needs to be said on Rodri, really. Yeah,
and the final midfielder, one I'm very excited to see, he's just pure legs in midfield and he carries the ball forward. It's Tijani Reinders. We signed him from AC Milan. They're still big fans of him. He's just turned 27, I think. So he's at the ripe age. You want one of your players that's going to be... I think he's going to be looking at one of the most minutes in the team, personally, for next season. I think he's going to play a lot. We've signed him for, that injection of legs into midfield. And I'm excited to see him play. He's a player we definitely needed.
Yeah, the Club World Cup, he looks so tidy, so good. He looks very similar to sort of a prime-time Gundogan. He's just got more legs than Gundogan now is the key difference. Like I say, AC Milan fans love him. He looked good for Netherlands. He looked great at the Club World Cup. Again, I think this is going to be a hit, that sign-in. So very excited to see him in this City team alongside Rodri, alongside Cherki, Foden, Bob. All these players come together. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, and we'll move on to the forwards, Alex. It's been a good breakdown up to now. There's 2 players here that I think are definitely just going to hit the ground running at the start of the season. And there's 2 that I can't really predict. I'd like to predict one of them to do very well. But two of these have big seasons. We'll go with the easy ones first. Erling Haaland, Omar Marmoush. Both unbelievable players. Haaland had a very good start to the season and lacked a little bit of the supply, I think, at times in the second half. Omar Marmoush, unbelievable impact. Where would we have been without him coming in January? But I think both of those are going to be great goal scorers for us next season.
Yeah, definitely. I expect Marmoush to get probably 15 goals next season. Haaland to be back in the 30s. I imagine Haaland to get 10 goals by end of September. It wouldn't surprise me. A few goals from Derby Day as well would be nice. But yeah, they're both going to score loads of goals. They're both guaranteed. I think I've seen a few people on Twitter saying Marmoush maybe hasn't lived up to the hype. And I just see that and I think, what have they been watching? Because
terrible.
He's the most guaranteed hit so far that we've had. That goal against Bournemouth was ridiculous. Yeah, can't wait to see a full season of Marmoush. But yeah, like you say, they're both guaranteed successes in my opinion next season.
Yeah, I agree. I think Marmoush, Haaland, guaranteed success. Now, Doku and Savinho, Jeremy Doku, Savinho have major seasons ahead of them. Doku did look good in the Club World Cup.
Very good.
And I think with that overlapping left back, he's going to get a little bit more freedom. So I think I personally really want Doku to succeed and do very well. He's in a slightly different boat to Savinho just because he's a little bit older. But Doku, what do you make of him?
Yeah, I think it's a big season for Doku. Like you say, Ait-Nouri overlapping him this season, I think will help. I mentioned it a bit earlier. But in the Club World Cup, he looked very good. He needs output. That's been his big issue. Obviously, him and Savio, their output last season was not quite at the levels that we've seen from previous City wingers. Ideally, he hits 15 or more goal contributions at least in the Premier League. I'd like to see a double-figure goal season by one of them. But yeah, I think Doku could have that season based on what we see in the Club World Cup, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I really like Doku. I really hope he succeeds. Same with Savinho. I think there was pockets of Savinho that I saw and thought, wow. Yeah. I don't think he had the best start, to be honest. I think he struggled at first adjusting, but you're always going to when you're a 20-year-old lad coming to a country when you don't speak the language in the hardest league in the world. He's always going to struggle at times. So I think Savinho's second season, he's got to kick in now. Like you said, big moments we want to see from him. Same with Doku. But yeah, that does round up our whole squad breakdown. If you disagree, if you agree, make sure you let us know in the comments. We're not going to be doing this week, by the way, City Busters or the quiz. The quiz, we're on to the final round. I think Alex needs to go 5 for 5 next week.
Yeah.
On round 10 of 10 to win, I think. And he needs 4 of 5 to level with me. So that you can look forward to that next week. We'll keep Alex sweating for another week, but this podcast obviously is focusing on the breakdown. The City Busters as well. We'll get a couple of those clues to you for next week. But before we finish, we've got a couple of community questions that I've noted down here. And Quai, Q-A-I, I think Quai, I'm going to pronounce it as, said that Pep's confirmed City will be his last club. Do you think he'll renew his contract past 2027, and who would you want to replace him? I'll let you answer that one for now, Alex.
I've said this a lot of times before, but for me, I really can't see him extending past this one. I think 11 years is a long time. I think he also is probably more tired than ever. I think he will see out his full 2-year contract that remains, but I would be shocked if he's still City manager after this contract. And in terms of who to replace him, the managerial landscape changes so frequently. It's very, very hard to judge now. I've seen talks about Fabregas. That would interest me. I personally wouldn't like to go for a big name. I'd like to see someone that's up and coming, someone that can sort of build their own dynasty at City that's ready to go for their own 10-year period.
Yeah.
But I like the name of Fabregas. But again, in 2 years, who knows who the new manager will be.
Yeah, I agree. I think Pep will go in 2027. I think that's almost set in stone in my eyes. I know we've said that before, but I think really this time he will go. I would like to see Company come in, but on the right terms. I don't want to just see him for pure nostalgia. I want to see him properly reviewed by the board. Is he the right man to take us forward? I know the play style can be at times similar, so that could have a bit of continuity. But Josh said, we have touched on this, but I'll read it out anyway. Josh said, is Echeverry going on loan the right move? I think it definitely is. We know how good he can be, but he's so young and he needs experience, which probably isn't what our current squad in its size can give him.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's got to go on loan just for the basis that he needs minutes. If he's not getting minutes, he's not improving. So, yeah, for me, he's got to go on loan this season.
Yeah, and Carl said, do you think City need to sign another workhorse midfielder if Rodri needs a break or gets injured? Personally, I don't think we need another midfielder. I think you might agree with me there. Reinders might be that guy, I think.
I think we need to cut down on midfielder, if anything. We've got Reinders that could potentially play there. We've got Nico that could play there to replace Rodri. I mean, he's not great, but even Gundo against the smaller teams could do a job there. So, for me, I just think we've got too many players in the midfield now. So, no, I don't think we need another midfielder.
Right, if you've made it this far, please just leave a community question for next week. We're going to read out, we're going to interact with you. The podcast is going to be getting bigger and better. We've actually lined up a decent guest that you'll all know for in a few weeks' time, hopefully. So make sure you leave a comment, subscribe, share this podcast to someone that's a City fan that you know will like it. Who doesn't want to hear about the squad being broken down? Because it needs breaking down, because we have about 400 players. Yeah. If you're listening on YouTube, please drop us a follow on Spotify, because it will very much help us out. We've just hit 400 Spotify followers, which is decent, but we can definitely do better than that. So yeah, if you're on Spotify, make sure you check out the YouTube as well. Both of them are video style, so yeah, you can do the same on both. But make sure you're following on both so you know when the next podcast is available. Anything coming up for you, Alex, or are you just chilling by the pool in Turkey for now, mate?
No, absolutely nothing going on. Obviously, back next week for the next podcast, and then Got Palermo next week, so probably actually address Palermo in next week's podcast. And then the week after is the season, so it's come around quickly, to be fair.
Premier League predictions, I know I've said this before, but it'll be coming up in one of the next 2 episodes. I'm off to Chorley on Tuesday for the under-21s. I've got a friendly against Chorley. So that'll be interesting. I might make a vlog if people want to see it, because it will be quite funny. But yeah, I'm back on the Overlap as well. That'll be coming out soon. So I'll be back in the club supporting the Blues on there. But yeah, make sure to please leave a comment and please ask us a question, because we'd love to answer them. But yeah, podcasts are continuing. 10 in a row we've done now, Alex. So yeah, let's keep that going, mate. And people are enjoying it. So let's just keep building the community.
100%. Keep it going. And by the end of the season, we'll be on probably approaching 50.
Yeah, hopefully so, mate. Hopefully so. Up the Blues.